Today we're going to talk about the difference between domicile and residency. Domicile is, in general, where you intend to be. Residency is where you might be temporarily. So, for example, a college student who has gone away from home, they know they're at college temporarily. They're going to be there temporarily for a short time, so they maintain their domicile at home, where they get their mail, where they're registered to vote, where they come for holidays, where they spend their summers, where they're there often for family events, and that is their domicile, even though they may be living away in a dorm or in an apartment somewhere temporarily. So their residence might be different. And by the way, that can affect whether or not you qualify for university or state college in-state tuition. State colleges often will have a rule for college students that say you have to be living here for a certain period of time. You have to have a local driver's license and be registered to vote and join a church or a club or something like that, so that you're actually intending to be here before you can qualify. Similar rules apply for probate. For where is a person domiciled? So grandpa has a home in one place and his possessions are in one place, and that's where he lived for years, or that's where he was employed. But because of age-related situations, he may be living away in a care facility or with another family member, and he may even pass away there. So the question is, where is grandpa domiciled for purposes of doing the probate, if the probate becomes necessary? And it's kind of quirky. The probate often has to happen in the place where there was real property. So if grandpa still owns his home at the time he passes away, where he spent his entire life, that's his domicile. And the probate will need to be done in that state where there is a real property. If, on the other hand, there's no real property, it's all in the bank, and there were no beneficiaries, and there was no trust, and there was no planning, usually probate is a result of either poor planning or no planning, then grandpa may, in fact, be domiciled where he was residing, even if he went there just briefly, a short time before mortality caught up with him, and now his family's having to deal with the administration of his estate. Domicile can also affect marital property issues. Are your marital assets, in the event of a divorce, community property and subject to those rules? Are they common law property subject to those rules? All 50 states have similar but slightly different rules on how that's handled. And so your domicile at the time of marriage, at the time of divorce, can have an impact on that. Often we see in a prenup, for example, that a couple may agree upon a domicile for their marriage, even if they live somewhere else. They may agree that we like the laws of this particular state, so even if we move and live somewhere else, those are the laws that apply. By the way, making that sort of agreement avoids a lot of confusion and conflict later on, because they say, well, I am benefited by the laws of this state. Well, I'm benefited by the laws of that state, and that might be a point of conflict. But if they've agreed in advance, no, the laws of this state, these are the laws that apply, then that can eliminate a point of conflict in an already nasty situation in the event the marriage fails. When a person wants to establish domicile, if I live in one state and I want my domicile to be in another state, there are some very specific rules, and some of these vary from state to state, but in general, the state that you want as your domicile, you probably need to be there more than half the time, so at least 6 months and a day. You need to register to vote. You need to have a home there, a permanent mailing address. You need to join something, a church, a club, some group that you are joining, and your driver's license and other things. You need to pay taxes there. It's good if you have employment there. And by the way, some states are very, very aggressive. We've seen, for example, clients say, I have a condo in Nevada. I live in Nevada. I want to be subject to the Nevada state tax laws because there's no income tax in Nevada. But California, on the other hand, says, yeah, we were taking your picture every day when you crossed the toll road. We know you were here more than 6 months in a day, so we're going to treat you as a California resident, in spite of the fact that you have a condo in Nevada where we don't think you were really living there because we know you were here. So it can be kind of tricky, especially with states that are aggressive in their tax policies. So if you truly want to change your domicile, no kidding, no fooling around, you actually have to be in the state that you want to be domiciled in.